Welcome to the next episode of One Thing Every Young Woman Should Know. Why every young woman? Why you should know it? Because I really believe that there is a scripture in the Bible that talks about older women teaching younger women. And so I've got some women, not too much older, let's not get it twisted, not much older, but we've got some women who have journeyed, some women who have been in different industries and different arenas for a number of years that are going to come along and along with myself, just pour into you. 18 to 35 years old, it's at a pinnacle stage. You're making choices, you're making decisions, some lifetime ones, whether they're financial, emotional, relational, social, health decisions. All of these are going to be made. And it's at this stage that really sets you up for later life. And so we're going to come each episode and just drop something that is going to help you to live your best life. In case I didn't say it, my name's Jacqueline Peart and welcome. I have an amazing guest today. Her name is Lillian Lartey. I first met her at a retreat. She came to speak to some of our ladies and she was excellent. So many people went away with health advice. They went away with wisdom nuggets that are helping them even to this day. So she is a holistic, a wellness coach. She is a fitness de-stressor. She does so much, but it's all around us living healthy. Can I say that again? Healthy. It's not about slim. It's not about that fact that healthy. She's all about us living healthy lives. So I really want to welcome our guest this morning, Lillian Lartey. Welcome, Lillian. How are you this morning?
I
Or
am well,
afternoon,
thank
evening,
you,
whenever they're going to
Jacqueline.
listen. Wonderful. So, so wonderful. It's good to have you with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Oh, bless you. Let me just ask you, just a bit about you. I've said what I know of you, but I know you do lots more than that. So if you just want to tell our podcasters, who is Lillian Lartey and what you do?
Sure. As you mentioned, I'm a wellness and de-stress coach. I'm also a holistic fitness trainer, and I've been in the health, wellness, fitness industry for 25 years this year. It still seems like yesterday when I qualified and came into the industry and started teaching. And I've had a love for the human body since I was young. Um, I first started teaching in health clubs, gyms, as they're now called, and I was teaching an array of different types of exercise classes from aerobics through to body spin, cycling, aqua aerobics, you name it, I did it. And I also, thankfully, successfully created 3 massage clinics in and around London
Wow.
because I was all about the body, helping people to be healthy, as you say, but also to maintain good health as well. And what I noticed was a majority of my clients were stressed. And in helping them to be healthy, I was also concerned about their state of mind, why they were so stressed and always living life in a hurry. And I thought, what more can I help them to do? So I went on to qualify as a coach, as a personal development coach, and other qualifications as well. And I loved what I did. I found that I always attracted midlife people, people in their midlife years, so from age 35 to 70 plus.
Mm.
And currently, my eldest client is 70, and I've taught people in their 80s even, and they're just like,
Wonderful.
no, we want a zeal for life. We're not going to
Really?
die being decrepit, and, you know, with with canes and things like that. And and they just inspired me, Jacqueline, and it took me to another level in terms of what health and wellness can look like, not only from a young age but through to our older years. So in my teachings, I not only help, like now, midlife women to be healthy, fit and strong in their bodies, but I also help them to eliminate the stress, the chronic stress, the burnout, because a lot of women are doing a lot. I'm sure you can relate.
Yeah.
If we're not here attending to someone and caring for someone, we're over here doing something else in our business, in our work, or someone else is calling us. The demands are being pulled. We're being pulled left, right, and center.
Mm.
So it's essential that we also deal with the stress and with the exhaustion and how we take care of ourselves so that we can show up alert, calm, and energized, not only for ourselves, but for our communities, so that we can serve our families, and also so that we can be present and do well in our work as well. So that's a bit about what I do.
Wow, that is amazing. It just makes just hearing you talk about the human body, I think has just been really powerful. But also about de-stress, not even de-stress, because often we talk about de-stress, but not eliminating stress.
Mm.
Is that possible? I mean, I just tell us a bit about that. Is it possible to eliminate
Okay,
stress?
so first, stress is something that happens to all of us,
Mm,
and there is good stress and there is not so good stress. So when I talk about eliminating stress, I'm talking about eliminating the chronic stress. And I'll just share a bit about my backstory, because stress in itself every day, we need stress to help us to get up and get going. Stress happens in our body. We've got hormones such as our cortisol hormone that helps us to wake up in the morning, and then we get going, we do our daily activities. Without that, we would just be laid back and sleeping all day. So
oh,
we need an element of stress to help us to be active.
mm,
We also need stress to help us to get away from danger. So, say, for example, you could be walking down the road, and then the next thing you know, some vicious dog comes and growls at you and attacks. Instantly, you feel this sort of churning in your stomach like butterflies, and you think, oh my goodness, that just feels frightening, that's scary. That's our body's natural way of alerting us. This is danger, move out. There's a term called fight or flight, and that helps us to move away from danger. So, all of this is called acute stress. So, this is what we need from our day to day living to keep us safe from danger. Now, where it becomes chronic is when we're constantly fighting or fleeing from danger. Now, our brains don't know in reality what's true from what isn't true. So sometimes we can make stories up in our mind. For example, oh my goodness, when I get to work, my boss is going to have a go at me because I'm late again for the 10th time and I'm going to be sacked. But that might not be the reality. Another reality could be, oh my goodness, winter is happening and I'm going to get the flu. Oh, and we start going into this sort of anxiety cycles of, I've got to protect myself. We sit next to someone on the bus and they're sneezing. You think, oh my goodness, that's it. I've got the flu. We escalate stories in our mind. So this soon becomes chronic stress, and our body thinks, oh my goodness, you're in danger. We need to protect you. So the body then starts to surge out more and more hormones of the stress to protect us. But it doesn't need to, because externally we're not in danger, but in our minds and internally we've created this story to create that stress. And for me, I lived years in chronic stress. I was constantly on this treadmill of working hard, because when I was young, I was told, work hard, be successful, and you'll attain A, B, and C. So in the back of my head, it was always, I've got to do best. I've got to do my best. I've got to be on top. I've got to be seen to be the best. I also, when I was younger, experienced a lot of racial trauma. I was told a lot of the time, you can't do this because you're Black. You can't do this because you're a woman. You can't do this because you're a girl. So I needed to prove myself that I
mm,
can do things. So being on that constant treadmill, always like something was chasing me.
mm,
And that created the chronic stress to the point where I actually burnt out. Now,
mm,
burnout is where you get to a place where you've got no energy, you're just totally exhausted, you feel disillusioned, and you just think, what's the point? I want to give up. And that's the place where I got to. Now, there are three stages of stress: the acute stress, which I mentioned, we need day to day to help us; the chronic stress, which is stage two, which I just mentioned as well, about different things that can move us into that place, whether that's internally or externally. And then the third stage of stress is the burnout stage. And that's the stage that I got to. And once I realized that I had burnt out, it was a matter of me being able to reset myself, recover from the burnout, and move into a place where I was actually living from a place of what I now call rest and not stress, where I was totally thriving and not surviving. Because a majority of people, even our young women today, are on this constant treadmill of survival. They see what's going on externally on social media, in their world. And it's a case of, I want to be a successful person. If I'm not successful, then who am I? I'm a nobody. And they're
Mm.
being told lies.
Yeah.
Again, this is causing the chronic stress in their minds. A lot of young people, anxiety levels are at the highest for young people. Depression is at a high level for young people, all because they don't know who they are and they're
Yeah.
believing a lie, living a lie, which is causing constant chronic stress.
Wow, wow, wow. I mean, we've just had a masterclass there in a couple of minutes of just that stress and also such clarity and an observation of what is going on out there. And hence why one thing every young woman should know. I don't know who's telling our young women this, because if they go through social media, it is about the next masterclass to get rich, the next class to become a developer, the next class, to become a coach in 2 seconds. It's all of this stuff that is bombarding. And so it really, this is just, whoever this is for, please don't forget to subscribe, to share, tell somebody that they don't need to live in acute stress.
Mm.
It's a lie and that it can be changed, it can be eliminated and turned around. Thank you so much for that, Lillian. I mean, we're talking to women about women, and men, if you are wise, you should be listening to what women are also talking about so that you know how to serve and love your wives, your daughters, your sisters, your mothers, you whoever, well. And so I just want to ask you, what do you love about being a woman?
Wow, what do I love about being a woman? The clothes. We can wear certain clothes. I'm not going to lie, Jacqueline.
Keep it real, keep it real.
Our clothes are colourful. We can style ourselves in particular ways that just bring out our inner beauty, you know.
Yeah,
And okay, joking aside, it's not just about the clothes, but the essence of being a woman, our bodies are phenomenal, you know. We can create other human beings, you know, and no other human, can do that. It's only us women that God created us to conceive, to create, to birth. And I know that's not the case for a lot of women, but there are other phenomenal things that we can do with our bodies as women. We can care for other children. We can be mothers to other children. We can care for women. We have a sense, I call it a sixth sense that God has given us, that inner knowing in us that men don't have, where we know that, oh, hold on a minute, something's a bit off here. And things that we just feel when we're together as women, that we are more sensitive as to what other women are feeling and how we can go alongside them and support them. And we could talk openly as well. There's no shame about, well, I'm a woman and I shouldn't be saying this or I shouldn't be saying that. But
mm,
we can share our concerns with one another. We can come alongside each other. We could come into circles, gatherings, and say, hey, I'm feeling this. And we open up spaces for other women to be able to voice their concerns and even also to journey alongside and open doors for one another. That,
mm.
you know, again, I don't see much men doing, but it's becoming more and more the norm now with men. But us women, we've been doing it for years, you know, generations gone, where women have stood up for themselves and just said, you know what, we get to do what we are designed to do as women.
Brilliant.
And yeah, that's what I enjoy as being a woman.
That's so wonderful. And I think there's that enjoyment, definitely the clothes, even though sometimes I have to admit, I just think, I don't want to have to think about what to wear. Do you know what I mean? Whereas men don't have that. But I do get it. Definitely we have a different array. But just that camaraderie, that kind of the way in which that we work with each other to support each other. And yes, there's this myth of that women don't work well together. And so, to in some instances, yes, that is true. But the reality is that there is something about how women have this ability to share, to come together, to handle together, to support and nurture. I love that.
You're listening to One Thing Every Young Woman Should Know podcast with Jacqueline Peart.
So, what's the challenge? I mean, if that's what you love, what would you say was one of the challenges of being a woman?
Yes, I would say in this era of social media, there's a lot of comparison. amongst women, which is really, really sad to see. And what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing in certain groups are women not being confident about who they are as a woman. And again, it seems to be this surge of hearing and listening to what the external is saying of how a woman should be seen to be doing. Whereas I remember years ago, before there was this huge social media uptake, that you would just get up and you'd know, yes, I'm a woman, and this is what I'm designed to do, and this is the career that I'm going into, or this is the business that I'm going to do, and be happy with that. But now I'm seeing a lot of challenges that women are questioning themselves from a young age. They're questioning themselves. Well, am I even fit to be able to qualify for this, to go for this topic, to study here, to do this, to do that? And there's a lot of questioning in the young women's minds. And I'm like, this is sad. And I mentor a lot of young women, and I'm always instilling into them, know who you are as a woman, be proud of who you are as a woman. Don't let someone come and say, well, this is a problem because you're a woman. This is a problem because you're a girl. No, you are a woman and you're designed to be here. And there should be no myths, no mistakes about, you weren't meant to be here. You are meant to be here. You're here for a purpose. And God has designed you for a specific purpose. So it's about understanding who you are as a woman and moving into that, and not questioning, not listening to those external voices that are telling the lies, but really knowing, yes, I'm a woman, and being proud of who you are as a woman.
I love that. I think that that's something really powerful, that knowing who you are, I mean, that is something for me that is just core. It just rings to my core: identity, purpose, and security. Those three things that I will just, until I die, will just keep coming at. Because once you know your identity, no one else can then tell you anything different. I think when we are finding it, when we have lost it, or when we don't know it, that's when we end up trying to be like everybody else. And then it comes back to what you spoke about before, which is about the comparison that then comes in. When we start to compare, we either come up better or we come up worse. And so it's just really important that we celebrate. And I remember when you spoke with us at the retreat, you said something that stuck with me. And you said that speak well to your body, be kind to your body. And it was just, I was just like, gosh, that is so true. Because often we look at ourselves and say, oh no, I've got a spot. Oh no, the hips too bigger, this, not that. It's not something to say that is negative, as opposed to speaking kindly. So let's get to the crux of what this podcast is all about, which is, what's the one thing that you think every young woman should know?
The one thing I feel that every young woman should know is to listen to their bodies and get to know their bodies. Be at home in your body, because I'm now, like I said, I'm working majority with midlife women, so from age 35 through to the 70s. And one of the number one things, and you said it well, Jacqueline, is women come to me and they say, Lillian, how can I get rid of this? And they start pulling on their body parts. How can I shape this up? Or how can I fix this? It's all about trying to get rid of things that they've been shamed about, or they've grown to dislike about, and they've not really harnessed the beauty and the essence of their body. And I remember when I was recovering from my second burnout, and just taking time out to rest, that I learned how to listen to my body, because my body was telling me from yonks years ago, Lillian, you're doing too much, rest. And I didn't listen. I didn't know what the signs and symptoms were. So when I sat back and I really tuned into my body, and I was like, okay, body, what is it that you're telling me? And so many answers were coming up for me, and I had areas that I disliked about my body. Being in the fitness industry, you come across that, and there's a lot of comparison, and I started to learn to love my body, to learn to love my legs, body. I was always told when I was younger, you're too skinny. You're like a skeleton. Put on weight, eat this, be fatter, be bigger. And I was like, okay, do this, eat more. Da, da. And my body wasn't changing. And I faced so much criticism that when I was in that period of recovery and resting, I was thankful that I got to let go of that. And then when I went to the gym, when I worked out, and people would say, well, why are you working out? You know, you're skinny, you're slim. And I'd be like, you know what? I want to be healthy. That's why I work out. So I started to own my power in my body. And that is what I urge young women to do. Own the power of your body. Don't look at other pictures. Or, you know, again, going back to social media, a lot of pictures and photos, videos that are done, you know, now we're in the generation of AI, you know, Photoshop doesn't even do it anymore. It's all AI, AI created bodies, AI created figures that no woman can even amount to. Just be happy with your body, you know, and think to yourself, how can I be the healthiest and the fittest in my body? That's the one thing I want to leave with the young women.
That's really powerful, really, really powerful. And I think that as you're saying that, it's just even looking at your body, even when we go to the mirror, that just to start to reprogram and the narrative that we've told ourselves over the years that, you know, like for you, it's too skinny, for me, too fat, you know, so it's trying to, not even trying to, but being intentional about loving who God created you to be, who you are, what you look like. And it's about, I do love what you say, that it's about the health more than it is. And the AI, Lord have mercy, absolutely spot on. So it's clear why you're passionate about this truth and passionate really because of your own journey. So I really want to ask you, what's a tip? What's one tip or technique or piece of advice that you want to give to the young women that are watching this about um, looking after your body, loving your body, the health, the identity, etc.?
Yes, it's about respecting themselves and respecting their bodies. And and like I said, the question earlier that I asked myself is, how can I be the best and the healthiest in my body? You know, you may be at a stage where you were told that you can't do sports. And I've heard this from many young women. Can't do sports because my breasts are too big. Can't do sports because I don't run fast enough, or whatever it is, you know, just be at home in your body. And all you need to do is just take time out. And I close my eyes when I do this and just sit down and just feel how you feel in your body. You know,
Mm.
different things are going on for different young people. You know, understand things like your cycle, how your cycle works. Jacqueline, you'd be surprised. When I work with certain midlife women, they don't understand their menstrual cycle. Even women who are going through the menopause, they don't understand, they never understood what their cycle was about. So explore, do research about your body, about your health, about women's health, and become knowledgeable. Because I wish that things that I know now, that I would have known when I was a lot more younger, you know, and own your health, own your health. Because sometimes, you go to the doctors and the doctors are too busy to even tell you, what's happening
Yeah.
with you. So be empowered. That's the word. Be empowered with your health and your body. Get to know your cycle, number one. Number two, eat healthy foods. I know, you've got the McDonald's and you've got the fast foods and the pizzas and things like that. And, yes, that's great to eat once in a while. But look at what foods can give you energy. When you feel tired in yourself, maybe you might feel anxious. When I speak with young women and they tell me, Lillian, I feel a bit anxious, I feel a bit depressed, one of the first things I say to them is, what is it that you've been eating? Because sometimes certain foods can trigger off what's happening in our brains. Now,
Right.
that in itself is a masterclass, and I can't go into that today. But there's
Yeah.
what we call the gut-brain axis. There's a connection there with what we eat affects our mood and affects how we feel. So look at what you're eating. Eat healthy foods.
Mm.
And also respect your body. As young women, there's a lot of pressure around, you know, I must be able to have a boyfriend and I must sleep with this boyfriend and, expose my body in certain ways. No, women, no.
Yeah.
Own your body. Look after yourself. Safeguard your body. Safeguard your body. It's not everyone and every man or every person that you let come and touch your body. No, keep yourself pure and clean and respect your body, because there are a lot of women, again, a lot of women that I'm working with now who have had traumatic events,
Mm.
traumatic situations where they've gone and been with certain men or certain people, and it's been traumatizing for them.
Mm.
So please look after yourself, look after your body, safeguard yourself.
How wonderful. Wow, you have given us so much. And this is why I say that this program is for 18 to 35s, but everybody can benefit, because I'm getting just food for thought, just even as you're speaking. Lillian, this has been amazing. And I just know that there is somebody listening that is going to start to love their body again. There's somebody listening that I pray is going to make the decision to just be, just to sit and to sit in who they are, sit in how they're feeling. So about looking at eliminating stress. Do I need to do everything that I'm doing? Or are there some things that I need to put down? Is this acute stress? Is this chronic stress? I mean, you've given us so much. I call it one thing every woman should know, but really these programs, you get so much out of it in such a short space of time. So I just really want to say thank you so, so, so very much for being a guest with us today.
Yeah.
Lillian's details are going to be all underneath, the captions and whatever else goes on once it goes to editing. But thank you. Is there a last thing that you want to say as we conclude?
Just thank you, Jacqueline, for having me on your show. And as you said, I trust that every young woman who listens to this podcast will glean, even one thing. I always say to my clients, just do one thing, take one thing and start with one thing. Because you may have heard an array of certain things. You're there, taking notes down. You think, okay, I've got to do this, got to, but where do I start? Start with the one thing that really speaks to you and then take the next step from there.
I love that. That is a real philosophy that I have also, that the one thing, because yeah, I'm exactly the same. Find one thing and do it. Well, I pray that you have been absolutely challenged, encouraged, also inspired by what you've heard from Lillian today about health and about just looking after yourself, being your own champion. Also, it's almost about, I love the word that she used that we use so often in another context, safeguarding. She talked about safeguarding your body as well. So I pray that when you leave this platform, that you're going to go and you're going to make some changes for the better for you. And also, not just for you, but it's for those that are going to come after you, because we are legacy builders. So if you have enjoyed this show, please do the usual, subscribe, tell somebody about it, forward it on to somebody else. And as I always say at the end of these shows, if nobody has ever told you Jesus loves you, I'm here doing this because of his love for me, but he loves you. Jesus loves you. God bless you, and I'll see you next time on One Thing That Every Young Woman Should Know podcast. God bless you.